Hey, what's up? I'm Joel Madden, and this is Artist Friendly. On this episode, I'm talking with the drummer of the multi-platinum rock band Hinder, Cody Hanson. Let's go.
I'm not smoking on gas, I'm smoking on piff, that's my kind. I don't want no bad times, I don't want to have bad.
Where do you live?
Oklahoma City.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Love Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
I didn't know you lived there.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought maybe Nashville.
Yeah, I mean, shit.
Can you drive to Nashville? Is that close enough?
It's about 12 hours, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a little too far for me to drive. I would do it, but yeah.
You've been there forever?
Yeah, I moved there when I was 1.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's got a great food scene and, tons of great restaurants. So,
Do you live in the city?
yeah, I live like 10 minutes outside of the city.
Okay.
But it feels like I live on 5 acres and I've got
Yeah.
a pond, so I feel like I'm way out, but
Yeah.
I'm close. It's
That's
cool.
good. You got a piece of land.
Yeah, it's nice.
Every man should have a piece of land.
Absolutely. Got a
I
studio down
want
there.
a piece of land so bad.
Move to Oklahoma. You
Yeah.
can have all the land you want.
We're actually in the process of moving out of the city. We live in LA, and we're going likely north, and land is like a big driver, like just some space.
So north, where
Yeah.
are you going north?
Like Thousand Oaks or maybe even further. We're kind of debating like how far from the city we can be, because my wife's parents live here and my kids have grown up here, so they're like, we don't want to be too far. But and we went and looked at Nashville. My brother lives there. My older brother lives there, and we love Nashville. But for me, I'd actually just live there.
Yeah.
It's fine with me. I don't feel like I have to be in LA, but I married someone from LA it's like it's home. So
I mean, Nashville's starting to feel a little bit like LA. It's
like a
getting
big city.
It's getting crowded,
Yeah.
and everybody's out there now.
the music
but
business is there.
Yeah, yeah. Too bad the weather sucks in the winter.
Yeah.
But besides that,
But I'm from Maryland, so it feels a bit more like that, like Maryland. And I need to be in the music business and like the artists and people making records and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know that I would be happy if I didn't have access to like tap into like a music
yeah,
culture. So Nashville to me like makes the most sense. But LA is great. I'm happy if we can move somewhere where we get a couple acres. I'd be like, okay, this scratches the itch.
yeah, absolutely. Well,
5
especially
acres
out
is
here,
good.
The weather's good out here, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if you could get that, it's best of both worlds.
And you can get to the beach and you can get to the mountains and you can kind of, that's cool. So how long are you in LA for? You just here like doing like promo and stuff?
We have a show tonight. Yeah, at the Whiskey.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So
Sick.
it's the first time we've played it, so I don't really know what to expect, but yeah, should
The
be cool.
Whiskey?
Yeah.
It's great.
Is it cool?
It'll be packed.
Awesome.
It's a good show.
Cool.
What's your favorite size show? Are you like big arena guy, or are you like little clubs, or you don't care either one?
Yeah, I don't really care. Just it kind of depends. I mean, just depends on the vibe in the room. As long as people are having a good time and you can make a connection.
Yeah.
That's cool. So yeah, I mean, I like. We did like a really great show up in Seattle recently in the tiny room. I can't remember what
Showbox?
it's called. I don't know if it was Showbox, but we had done it before. But for some reason, we showed up this time, and it was just like a packed tiny room. And I don't know, man. Those shows have a really cool vibe. Just
They're
like a
special.
sleazy, dirty rock show. You know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean?
it's like it's special. Everybody's packed in there, and it's usually the people that can get tickets to those little shows they're putting effort in to
Yeah.
get those tickets. So the whole room is excited.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the chance to get to see you guys in a small room like that it's just special. So there's something about that feeling, I think, that just feels like it's really got purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah. So I don't know. We were talking about it yesterday. It's weird though. Like the bigger the crowd, it's like you're less nervous and less anxious about it. Maybe because it doesn't feel real.
Right.
Because you're not making that connection.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, there's really nothing like seeing a sea of people singing your songs back to you. So that's always cool.
It's nothing like it.
Yeah.
It's like each show has their own, like a big festival's cool too. There is something about like 10 or 15,000 people. That's like the sweet spot. Not that 30,000 isn't great or 50,000 isn't great, but there's something about like 10, it's like really big. And yet like everybody's singing every word. And it's something like it's hard to explain, but it's a good feeling. But then those little tiny shows are great, man. You're sweating and you're just like you're this close to people, and there's something about that that's special.
Almost feels like a house party.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool.
did you guys start playing house parties and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, in college it was always fun to play, you know, some house parties, and we had some bands that we were, you know, kind of friends with that we'd go and play with, and it was always funny because, you know, growing up, all the bands were metal bands, right? And so we'd go and we'd play these house parties, and the metal bands would kind of run everybody out, you know, and then we'd come in with our songs geared toward females, and so all the chicks would come in and start dancing. So then all the dudes would come in and it would be packed, and it was always fun to do that stuff.
Are you guys metal fans as a band?
I mean, you know, we like everything as long as it like has a cool groove, you know, I can get into it. But I'm really more into music that's got a melody, it's got a hook.
Songwriting.
Yeah. I want some melodies, you know, something memorable. What
would the songwriters be that you think like shaped your early perception of like what a song is? Records or songs that stand out even when you were young that just, I don't know, there's songs that I can think of that I wouldn't say I maybe listen to them now, even though if they come on, I will. But like they shaped my idea of like how a song was written or like what a song is.
Well, I think for me, like the first song, you know, especially it was like rock leaning that got me into it was Shooting Star by Bad Company.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a great hook, but it you know, it tells the story, you know, a very specific story. It's like you can almost see it play out like a movie.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. And then, you know, as you get older, you get into all kinds of stuff. You know, there's like really great songs, especially like in country, like writers like Jeffrey Steele, you know, guys like that can just really just write a script and you can just see it play out, you know, while you're listening to the song.
Do you love country music?
I do.
I do too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's funny because I rejected it when in my teens. I grew up around it my whole life. And then when I was going into the world and kind of just rejecting everything that I grew up with, finding my own personality in the world, I really rejected that whole side of music because I grew up with like my dad loved country music and I had like conflicted relationship with him. And then I found myself really rediscovering it when I had kids, and I was like probably in my 30s when I started like slowing down and like nothing mattered. You know, once you have kids and you're like, fucking what does cool mean? Who cares?
Yeah,
this exactly. Like something soothes my soul. I'm gonna you know, and I found myself putting country music back on like in the morning when I listened to coffee or when I was driving and just falling in love with it. And now, I mean, I feel like nowadays like no one cares about anything. Everyone's just doing what they like. Mm-hmm. And country has become a different thing where like way more people can participate in it in different ways. And it's just, it's everywhere in like a good way. And these days I just listen to so much country music.
Yeah. I mean, country is everything now. I mean, now they're doing, you know, metal country and, you know, country rap. And I think I heard a country reggae song the other day. You know what I mean? It's everything now.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's getting interesting for sure.
Yeah, I don't mind it though. But, you know, I've always found that one of the things I really like about your music is I've always heard a little country in it, which I really like. Yeah. Because a lot of the songs, the songwriting's really good. It's telling a story. Like you said, a lot of love songs, a lot of songs about, you know, the relationship, whatever that relationship is. It always comes down to songwriting. Can you sit down with an acoustic guitar and play it? And that's the song. Yeah,
that's what I've always said. Everything we do is pretty much when we start is always an acoustic guitar or a piano. And, you know, the theory is if you can, you know, write a song that sounds like it belongs on the radio with just an acoustic guitar, I mean, once you go in and put the production on it, it's all icing on the cake. That's how you know you have a great song from the get-go. I mean, that's kind of what we've always thought.
I agree.
So
us too.
Yeah.
Most of our songs started on acoustic guitar, and then it would turn into this rock song. Yeah. We'd bring it into the band, and we'd all play it, and it would find its life. But me and Benj would always sit down and just fuck around with the acoustic and come up with a verse chorus.
Yeah, I don't know if you even remember that we wrote a song together years ago.
Holy shit.
Years ago.
I do remember.
Yeah.
I didn't remember till just now.
Yeah. I think
what was the song called?
I think the song was called Man on a Wire.
God damn, dude.
I'm gonna have to go back and
see if I can find it and send it to me.
Yeah, I gotta
Maybe we'll use it.
I mean, it was
probably good.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Did
Yeah,
you ever
I'll
write
check
a
it
bad song? I don't know if you did.
Oh,
I
no,
mean,
no,
like,
of course I haven't ever written.
well, listen, we probably wrote a couple songs like where we were trying to go into some area we shouldn't touch, but like whenever we sat down and just wrote a song, especially like a rock song or just acoustic guitar song, it was always pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to, I mean, if you know how to write a hook, right?
Yeah.
And a lyric, it's kind of hard to completely mess it up if you're doing it that way.
Where did we write it? LA or?
Yeah, it was here. Yeah. I don't remember exactly where it was.
That's
but yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Fun. I remember that was a fun day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll find it.
Did you get a good impression of us?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys
good.
are great.
Good.
Awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
I always thought you were a nice guy. I always thought like you guys were like a really nice band and nice guys. You know, you run into people over the years and you're everywhere, the festivals, to this, to that. And like, you always remember people who were friendly and welcoming and, you know, I'd say like a large majority of bands are. I'd say like it's like a 80-20 rule.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think that's important. You know, if you go around burning bridges, you know, I mean, it's really is like, it's a small world out there, you know, especially in the entertainment industry. So if you go around burning bridges, you know, it doesn't last very long.
Yeah.
So, and we always keep each other in check. We're treating each other enough like shit that when we go see other people, we're nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
How long have you guys been together?
Blower, our guitar player, and I met in 2001 in college, and we kind of started shortly after that, and then we got our deal in like 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been doing it. This is the 20th anniversary of our first album, actually. So yeah.
Are you guys celebrating that on the tour?
I keep saying that we're celebrating the 20th anniversary by releasing a new album.
Good.
You know what I mean?
That's how I feel.
Yeah, we're moving forward.
I'm not a big anniversary band.
Yeah.
Like go and play the second record or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not big on that. Even though other bands do it and I think they do it well and I see that and I appreciate that and it feels like fans love it. If I go out, I want to play some new stuff. We'll play all the hits.
Yeah.
I definitely am not in the delusion that we shouldn't play songs people like.
Yeah, absolutely.
By any means. But I also want to throw some stuff in there that like we want to play, even though we like playing all of our songs, playing new stuff, fun, working out a like cover of something, doing stuff like that.
Yeah, it's hard to like go out and play and not play all the songs that you think are your best songs.
Yeah.
Right? Like that feels weird, you know?
Yeah.
And no album has, I mean, well, some are amazing front to back, but I mean, you know, there are songs from like those early albums that I'm just like,
well, you know more now.
yeah,
like,
exactly.
I would have done this and that. That probably wouldn't have been on the record.
Yep.
Because you just know more about making records.
Yeah.
You just get
Well,
quicker.
you get a little more confident, I guess, too, as you get older. You know, you just know what you like and what you don't, and you know, sometimes it's not about what that person thinks. You know what I mean? You have to do what inspires you as well. You know what I mean? So it's nice. You got to find the balance, but I think as you get a little bit older, you get better at it.
Yeah, I do too. When's the new record?
We haven't set a date for the record. We have a new song, our next one coming out on March 7th. So that'll be the third release so far from the upcoming album.
Bring Me to Life.
Bring Me Back to Life.
Bring Me Back to Life.
Yep.
I like it. I listened to it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
I listened to it this morning.
I've been really excited about this song for
like it.
a couple years. So thanks.
Yeah, it's good. I
Appreciate
listened
that.
to it this morning when I was working out.
That's awesome.
I got a link. They sent me a link and I was like,
cool.
I actually love that the aspect of this show where I actually get to participate a little bit in people's, not everyone here is coming out with a new song or a new movie or a new whatever, but every now and then someone is, and I get to like watch it or see it or listen to it. I really like that. I still really enjoy listening to a new song, or even when someone sends me a demo, I like it, but it's really good.
Thank you. I mean, that means a lot, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, we've been playing that song live for almost 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Thinking that we were about to release it. You know, it was the first song for the album that we did a video for, and so it had this look, you know, this all white thing, and you know, the backdrop was all white. So we went out for like a year and a half touring with this like all white look, and then it kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and then so we ditched all that, went with a whole new production with a different look, and then now we're going to release that song. So all of that was just wasted. We rolled around in all white looking like idiots for
Yeah,
2
all
years.
white's a cool. All white could be a strong look, though. You know, all white is a good look. You could always bring that back. I don't think people would mind. But why didn't you release it?
You know, it's just one of those things where we didn't have the right partner, you know,
Right.
on the label side to
Okay.
release it. And, you know, the plans just haven't it didn't really add up and make sense. And even now it's hard, you know, because we're kind of pigeonholed a little bit as like a rock band, right?
Right.
Like a heavy rock band. And a song like Bring Me Back to Life kind of has that 4 on the floor, a little more like it has the big pop hook, right?
Right.
You know, I mean, we've always liked and enjoyed writing songs like that, as well as the rock songs. So we always try to ride the line. And, you know, especially when you're on a smaller label that doesn't have the massive budget, you know, it's kind of hard to figure out what that plan's going to be to get it out to the right audience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Which label are you on?
It's called Evil Teen. It's like
Okay.
a small boutique label.
Okay, are they fully independent or are they distributed through someone?
Yeah,
or-
distributed through ADA.
Okay,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So that's the Warner system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's a good song, and I think you have a really good fan base, and I think that it starts there always, and I think it's never a bad time to release a good song. Exactly what you're saying, though. You should put together the best plan you can so it makes the most impact possible. But also in the world we live in today, I think even more than like 2 or 3 years ago, I actually think 2 years ago was different than now.
Yeah.
And I think now you can just drop songs and they do take on their own life. I'm learning a lot with artists we work with at our company at MDDN. I've learned a lot from them and I'm trying to take it on I'm trying really hard to take on. There's an artist we work with, Idris. He's this like fucking super cool. It's indie rock kind of. It's like indie rock, but it's also, he's like very hip hop in his own way, but he's like indie rock. He plays guitar and he writes and produces all his own stuff. He just drops shit and he just gets bigger and bigger. I mean, he's got like, I think the last time I checked, he's got like 16 million monthly listeners or whatever. He's not a mainstream artist by any means. He's not like on the radio. And he just drops shit. He makes a video. He does everything in house. He makes the video with his friend who directs. And he's very purposeful. He's got in his mind, he's not just dropping shit like frivolously. He only puts out what he wants when he wants. But I've learned a lot from him. We work with a band called Chase Atlantic, and they're kind of the same way. They do everything themselves. They write the music, they produce it, they mix it, and then they have this like family, like their video guy, their this guy. Everybody's in this like Chase world, and they come up with their own plan, and then they're like, we're dropping this, and then they're kind of coordinating with the label. They're on a label, but it's like they have Chase Records, and they have a partnership with Fearless. But I mean, they're like 23 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and they just drop. They just kind of have their own, they make their plan, and I've learned a lot from them, especially in the last 2 years. I've seen it kind of more than ever before. People are just like dropping shit. And so we made a record, and I'm trying to not hold on to it too tight and think my old way of like, I need to have a plan. I need this, I need that. So we're trying to be a little bit more like them. If we get to the middle, I'll be really happy, because we haven't dropped anything in 7 years, probably for that reason. We're like, well, what's the point? We don't have we need to make a record, but if we're going to make a record, we have to do this. And if we're going to do that, then we have to do this. And then we overwhelm ourselves with like this master plan of like what we need to do. And then I kind of went to my brother and I was like, I think we just need to fucking make music. And then if we like it, put it out.
Yeah.
And then we went and we did, and we got like a whole album that we like. And now we're just going to put it out. So it's a middle ground.
Yeah, it's so hard to break the old mindset, right? Where you want it to be big and grand. You want your big music videos and your big photo shoots, and you want it to be, you know, what it's always been, this big giant brand, right?
Yeah,
but that's just not how you do it anymore.
But you
apparently.
guys are big.
Well, I don't know about
You're big.
that.
No, I'm telling you, you're big. Whether you feel big, that's you. That's in your own perception,
that's
right?
true.
That's
That's true.
what we feel is different. But the honest truth from my perspective, when I hear you say that, if I don't tell you what I think is the truth, then I'm not doing the right thing by you or me. And you're in a big band. It's a big fucking band. You guys have a bunch of hit songs. You've sold millions of records. You've had 20 years of success. Think about this, 20 years of success.
Yeah,
now, in your mind, you may not think about, you don't walk around into every room with two guys with trumpets and a scroll that unfolds and rolls across the floor and reads all your achievements. But if we put them on paper, it would be something like that to any person in the world that's just an alien to the music, to a music career. If someone was like, I'm going to start a music career, and then you put your achievements on the wall and they looked at it and they said, how am I going to do all that? Right? It's just, you've achieved a lot.
That's true. Yeah,
you're not going to walk around with your resume in a stack and like hand it to people in every room. Like, you're not looking at it every day. So in your mind, you've done nothing almost, right? You know, you feel what you feel, and you've got the experience to do whatever the fuck you want in music, but you're not walking around all day with your achievements right in front of your face. So when I say you're a big band, you might just go, meh. You've also probably, like me, been trained not to say good shit about your band because that would be considered cocky or whatever. Okay, so I get that. Me too. But you've achieved a lot. And if you only measure them against your highest and biggest, it's not a true measurement. It's just not a true measurement. And nobody can be Good Charlotte. I know that after 27 or 28 years. It's like, we're just all fucking band on our own. We're not like any other band. And I just had to like teach myself to own it somewhere back in like 10 years ago, maybe. Yeah. It's like when everything changed, when I started to embrace what it meant to be in Good Charlotte and stop trying to keep up with anyone else and just be Good Charlotte, whatever that means. And what that meant for us was stop touring, stop making records, figure out who we are. Yep. Yeah. And now we're kind of on the other side of it. And we're like, okay, now we want to make a lot of records and we want to go on tour as much as we can and like figure out what it means to be Good Charlotte in the world again, because we figured out what it meant to be Good Charlotte in our own lives.
Yeah, it's interesting how stepping away for a little bit of time just changes your perspective. I mean, we had just kind of decided for us that we were done making new music. You know, we decided, well, the fans, you know, we kind of just thought that they just wanted to hear the old stuff. We didn't feel like anybody really cared. And then
I get that. I feel that. I feel you when you say that. Like, yeah, but I was there before.
And you know, I was just talking about this the other day, how it's amazing how you write one song and it changes your entire mindset and perception. And, you know, when we wrote Bring Me Back to Life, that was the first song that we wrote for this cycle. And it was kind of unintentional. We had written over the pandemic an entire album that we just went, yeah, I don't know. This feels like we're trying to be the first album, you know? And so we threw it away and
But you still have it.
We have it. So we may recycle.
I would like to hear that, to be honest with
you. So anyway, when we wrote Bring Me Back to Life, it was like, oh, it was a reminder that we still knew how to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we decided to go through that, you know, that whole process. And now that we're putting out new music and we have, you know, our first single, Live Without It's charted so far. It's still climbing and it's
great.
It's one of the, you know, our top 10 songs we've ever had at rock radio. So that's a great feeling, you know, and just seeing the people show up and singing the words to the new material. It's brought new life to the band. You know what I mean? We're feeling good to be out, to be honest.
Because you're still a young fucking band. I mean, you may not feel young, but we're in this different time, man. I'm looking around at people that are having their first hit at 41.
Yeah.
And I thought 45, I was like, there's no way at 45 I'm going to still be on the stage. Back when I was 25.
Yeah.
I was like, we're Good Charlotte. Like, no one's going to fuck with us when we're 45.
Could you imagine starting, though, at 41? Like, just having your first big song at 41.
I think I would have handled it way better.
Yeah.
I think I would have life experience. I'd have people experience.
It wouldn't be as fun, though.
It wouldn't be as fun. You know, it's such a weird thing because it wouldn't be as fun because We wrecked ourselves.
We did.
But I would never go back.
Yeah.
I
Same.
would never go back.
Yep.
It's like, it doesn't matter. It's people always ask me like, what was that like? Because there's crazy pictures. You're with that person and they see all these moments in this. We didn't know at the time how fucking amazing it was in the 2000s for music and pop culture and all the things mixed up. There was pop and rock, and it was the beginning of what it is now, which is there's no genre.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, there was genres, but everybody was mixing it up. So it felt exciting.
Yep.
And now people look back on that as like, they cite it as like reference for like inspiration and whatever. You guys are one of those bands. You're young, but you're a legacy brand. You're a legacy just by nature of being alive.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to see. You know, we were talking about country bands, and one of my favorite new artists out. It's called Lakeview.
Oh yeah, I like Lakeview.
Yeah, they're awesome. Great songs, and they, they cover "Lips of an Angel" live.
Yeah,
and they're talking about doing a recorded version of it. And to me, that's me too. Like I've heard videos of the live performance, and I don't know. I mean, what a cool thing to have, like a band that you're into and you listen to their album all the time, covering your songs. Like, to me, that's a pretty big trip. That's pretty cool. It's
just cool that you get to experience what your music means to the world.
Yeah.
And you don't, I think a lot of times is in bands, especially bands at the time when we came out, if you had any like kind of radio success, pop success, any of that stuff, it was looked at as like not okay. It was looked at as not good.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a huge deal if your song is used in a commercial or used in a movie or no one cares. But back then, people don't realize how we would get attacked by our own scenes that we came up with in rock or whatever for having mainstream success. Like, it was a real thing. If you had mainstream success, you were going to get attacked by the critics, the scene, the other bands. If like certain ones would pick you out as the evil, successful band.
Use Nickelback as the perfect example. You know what I mean? Like, they came out, they were huge. Everybody I knew had the album.
Yep.
But they would still talk shit.
They're the perfect example of how you navigate that with integrity and with class. Because look at them now. Bigger than they've ever been.
Yeah.
Straight up. Nickelback's bigger than they've ever been. Creed, I would say, is another one.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
Bigger than they've ever been. Still get a little bit of obscure, weird hate that no one listens to. Like, every now and then you'll hear someone that sounds kind of like someone's dad talking shit about Nickelback or Creed.
Yep.
And you're kind of like, yeah, that was kind of a thing people said in 2005. Like, no one says that anymore. Like, it's not, you're like, shut up, please. You're embarrassing me. Like, no one cares. It's the legacy.
Yep.
It's the songs. But I take a page from those bands.
Yeah, absolutely.
I look at those bands and I go, okay, I fucking love that. I love how they carry themselves.
Yeah.
What does everybody want them to do? Do they want them to quit and go into a hole and never make another piece of music and fucking die?
Well, I've learned too, though, like the more hate you get and the more people talk shit about you, that means you're on the right track to success, right?
Absolutely.
That means you're doing well.
Absolutely. And when Nickelback came to town, they played the Enormo Dome, and everyone I fucking knew went to the show. And half of them were like 25-year-olds who never got to see Nickelback. And so they have a legacy that is, who gives a fuck what anyone says?
Yep.
The people who are saying it, they sound like they're like stuck in 2007 and they're reading like, they're on some message board and they're just trying to impress their friends by like who. That's kind of what comment section is. It's like everyone trying to impress each other with how clever
exactly
their
I was just
insult
gonna
can
say
be.
that. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody thinks they're a comedian.
Yeah, so they're like, I'm gonna be a comedian, and then the comment gets pushed up because more people liked it, and then good for them, I guess. It's kind of weird, like if that's what you're spending your day, doing. Like, it says a lot. That's why I kind of always like remind myself when I'm reading comments, especially about this show. I try to get some feedback. I have stuff to work on. I talk too much.
Nah.
I definitely talk too much, but I also remind myself that people are spending their time like having full conversations with each other, or, you know what I mean? Coming up with the most clever And you just got to kind of take that as a compliment.
Yeah, it's hard to do sometimes,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, you kind of learn over time how to deal with stuff.
But I think Hinder, just by the nature of the amount of ground you guys have covered, the time, 2 decades of success, I would say the spectrum of achievements is success. It's all success. Any failures you guys might have had, I wouldn't know about. Personal failures, whatever. We all have whatever. But like, I would say that the spectrum of what you guys have done is all achievements on varying levels. And just by the nature of being Hinder today and going out into the world and playing shows as a band, you guys are a legacy rock band.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I'll be really honest. Like, in the early days, I don't think we saw ourselves being able to do it for 20 years. So the fact that we're still here doing it on the level that we're doing it is, I mean, I'm extremely proud of it.
It's really
we're
fucking
blessed.
hard.
So yeah, it is. It's really fucking hard. It's really hard to keep everybody together and on the same page. You know what I mean? So, yeah, to keep
and to not
keep
get
doing it.
complacent.
Yeah.
20 years in, doing things the way you want on your terms because you want to, not because of any other fucking reason. And if you were like, I mean, how many times are you like, we don't have to play that festival this year?
Yeah.
It's not personal. You're weighing up like how it makes you feel.
Yep.
And I think that's good. I think that you earn that. I think there's a stage where you get to where you earn the right. A lot of bands are still going out trying to build fan bases and get noticed and get the right vibe going around their band, as they should. Good for them. But you guys aren't begging anyone to listen to you.
Yeah.
There's something badass about that.
Well, I think people can tell too when you're out doing things that you want to do and you feel passionate about. And it's the same thing with writing music. It's like, I feel like if we'd have put out that album that I was telling you we wrote in 2020, that we didn't feel like it was authentic, we wouldn't have put everything behind it. And I think people would have, I think they would have noticed. I think it's important.
That's an artistic decision made by guys who understand what they're doing versus a young man who puts the wrong album out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I got guys like you to point them in the right direction, right? Steer them.
Tried. I mean, all we can do with each other as artists is share our experience and go like, hey, watch out for that pothole or watch out for that, and usually if we can be the guys we wish we would have met when we were 21, making some decision.
Exactly. Yeah. We have, younger bands reaching out all the time, asking me questions. And, I had one the other day send me their deal memo from a label and say, hey, what do you think about this? I felt pretty good about that, being able to offer up some advice.
Did you give them some notes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
So it was nice to be able to do that because we didn't have that. We
didn't
know anybody.
No one did that.
So yeah,
you didn't even know what questions to ask.
Exactly. Yeah. And that got us into some trouble later on, because you signed the wrong thing. You didn't recognize what this clause even meant.
Yes.
And now 20 years later, you're dealing with it.
All of us.
Yeah.
All of us have done that. That's actually why we started our company.
Yeah. That's awesome.
What happens is you come into this business or any business when you're young and inexperienced, and people take advantage of your lack of experience instead of help you by giving you information. So you sign some deal where you have, God, can we think about it? If you knew on your first record deal, like the difference between a license deal and a fucking, could you imagine?
No, I mean, life would be different.
It would be different.
Yeah.
That's why we tell artists what we know about publishing deals, what we know about record deals. And we tell them there isn't just one way. Be very worried if you're an artist and your lawyer tells you that's just the way it is, or that's just how they do it, or be very, very worried. There is no one way. Any deal can be made with any label. It means they won't do it with you. That it's not that they can't. When anyone comes back to you and says, yeah, they can't do that. No, they don't want to do that, and you don't have to sign.
Yep.
But know what you're giving up if you're signing. So if you If you think that's your only shot, I would question that. If you think this is the only record deal you're ever going to get or be offered, I would stop and go, wait, should I be doing this if I think it's a lottery? If you think this is the only offer you're going to get is from this label or this manager or this publisher, then you need to stop and gut check what the fuck you're doing, because you will get more offers.
Well, especially now, it's not the year 2000 anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you said, there's a million ways to do it, and not all those ways include a record label. You know, I mean, a lot of people are doing it all on their own and having great success and then making more money as a result. You know, it may not be, you know, quite as big and as mainstream, but you know, there's the money will be more, which will give you more opportunities to grow the brand down the road, I feel like, in a lot of instances.
Well, yeah. And there's versions of independent that, like a Chase Atlantic, I bring them up because they're not a mainstream band. They don't have a song on the radio ever. They don't have a big sync, and they sell more tickets than any band I know, right? Like, I think they sold out O2 in 15 minutes.
That's awesome.
And they did multiple nights. Like, they did like 20,000 tickets in Munich, and they're a band with no radio.
Incredible.
And they did that by releasing music consistently and touring on their own for 10 years. And I always cite them as an example of what can be built over time with commitment and hard work and good music, obviously. And then I tell bands, like, I also don't have a problem with labels at all.
Yeah.
You're signing the deal. You're making a deal. If you give yourself away, just recognize that you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So own it.
Yep.
And if you don't want to give yourself away, make a deal that doesn't feel like you're giving yourself away. And also recognize if you want more money than you need, they're going to want you to give more than you probably want to. So you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
You say, I want $10 million. And you're like, well, you're giving them your masters for $10 million. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Or you're doing a very long license deal if you're lucky. And if you do that, I'd still be cool with that deal. As long as you get the records back at some point. The term for me doesn't matter if you're in a partnership with someone you like, whatever. But like, I talk to artists about this all the time, and I'm like, but you want that big check. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So you got to find the middle where it's fair for everybody, because most labels will do licenses now. But if the artists that want that big check, and I don't know who talks them into that big money up front. A lot of times I think it's maybe they haven't touched enough to know that it's probably going to be gone and spent on making this and making that and doing all this. And sometimes too much money up front when it's front loaded can make you make really bad decisions on like how much you spend on that video.
Yep.
And you're not as scrappy as you were. Yeah. And you lose a little edge when you're not as scrappy. And a big check can kind of take away that scrappiness sometimes. So finding the middle, I always think, is the right, for me anyways, the right idea. Everybody's got to run their own business.
I can't imagine how hard that would be, though, for like a young baby band. It's the first deal, right? The idea of an advance, especially if you need the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When knowing that's really not the smart way to do it. The smart way to do it is don't take an advance. Put that back into a guaranteed marketing budget or something like that. But I also understand the other side. You know, a young band that's, you know, they don't have money. They're probably, you know, starving or close to it. They need it, right? Yeah. So it's kind of it'd be a tough call, I think, if you're a young band these days.
Well, that's the leverage, right? Well, like the label or the publishing company, they got the money, and you want that. Every artist is like, anytime there's millions behind the first number, you're like, oh my God, it is exciting and it's something to celebrate. It's just, don't make that the most important part of the deal.
Yeah, it's a little short-sighted if you do. Yeah, absolutely.
Just try to find the whole deal. Make every part of the deal feel good. And then if that number matches and it all works together, but if you have to take that number down a little bit to have a better deal, that's betting on yourself.
Yeah. So it's all about the long-term goal. Like what's that goal that you can see off in the distance, and how are you going to get there? I think that's the most important thing. You know,
I agree. But like a lot of artists, I think, are scared to bet on themselves, even though they've been betting on themselves to get to that point.
Right. Yeah.
And then suddenly a big important person or company comes in and they suddenly stop betting on themselves and they bet on the company.
Yeah.
And so they flip it and they're like, I'm going to give you all the value now because I bet on you making me big versus me making me big. And I think what they find out on the other side is we need team, we need partnership, we need collaboration to succeed, but we are the driver of our own success. So
Absolutely.
we have to continue to bet on ourselves. And I think bringing that back to me and you, our bands are around the same ages. We might be a little bit older than y'all, but we started in high school instead of college. So same amount of time probably out there making on the road and doing records and stuff. We get to this spot where it sounds like y'all were a couple of years ago and we were too, where you have to remind yourself to bet on yourself again and be like, what the fuck else am I doing?
Yep.
I only get to be me. This is what I had to come to. I only get to be me. I only get to be this age. I can't lie about it.
Yep.
So I'm not going to try to be younger.
Yep.
And I said, okay, at 45, am I still going to be on stage? At the time when I was 25, that fucking sounded really fucking old.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was possible.
Yeah.
But now I'm 45 and I'm like, we're actually better live than we've ever been.
Yeah.
I would bet you guys are too.
Yeah. I think so.
Shit's probably heavier, tighter.
Yep.
You just know more. So you put together sets differently. Like there's just a.
And I didn't start drinking at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. 8 p.m. It's like.
Exactly.
It actually makes sense now.
Right.
When you drink makes sense.
Yeah.
Didn't make sense at 8 a.m. The fuck were you doing?
Oh man, I don't know.
What were you drinking at 8 a.m.? A little whiskey in your coffee?
Well, back then it was we had this RV when we first got going, right? Going to do radio visits. So we would keep boxes of Cuervo 1800 under the bay of the RV. So and you're down in Texas a lot in the summer. You can imagine how hot that was. So we'd take in these bottles of Cuervo and these styrofoam cups. We'd take them into morning shows. And the rule was whoever was in the room had to participate and the bottle had to be gone or we weren't leaving.
Oh, wow.
So that was the rule. So
the radio hosts would have to drink with you?
Yeah. Oh. So we would be stumbling out of the radio stations every day at,
9 a.m. after the morning show. And after the morning zoo interview?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It got so bad that, we got so sick of tequila that at one point we brought in bottles of Jaeger to chase the tequila with. So
Did you at least have ice?
No.
Wow.
We thought we were pretty hardcore, man.
Yeah.
So we were doing it,
That's kind of what you think when you're in your 20s, though. You're just like, this is what you do. You just drink and you play shows and you go and promote your record. And, for the most part, no one gets hurt. Some people have to go to rehab and stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
you got a couple sober guys probably now.
Yeah.
It's okay. It was that's kind of the story, right? Because the truth of life is that alcohol and drugs will kill you eventually. If you don't get a handle on it, they will kill you or they'll wreck your life, one or the other.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
I mean, I'm still doing them, but yeah.
No, yeah,
right.
But you probably do it different.
Oh yeah, much different. Yeah, absolutely. Like you said,
you've refined.
Yeah. There you go. I like it. Refined.
Yeah, it's
I like that.
A gentleman evolves.
I like it.
Like a gentleman didn't start as a gentleman. He's just kind of evolved into one because he was alive long enough and had enough success in the world that he wanted to keep it. So he had to evolve a little bit to keep it. Because at our age, if we were at 8 a.m. drinking tequila and, forcing the radio disc jockey morning zoo guy to drink tequila with us at our age, it would be a little more uncomfortable than a 20-something-year-old going fuck yeah, dude, have a shot.
And it would look a little pathetic if we tried to do
different.
That now. Yeah.
It would just be different.
It'd be like, God, look at that loser.
You'd just be you'd be, no, I don't think it would. I think people would still probably have I think you guys are likable. So I think they'd be like, oh yeah, they came. They still do the drinking thing. It was cool. You know what I mean? They'd be cool with it, but it would be different because I look at you guys as it's not that I didn't think you were a wild rock band, but I always you guys were just a fucking rock band. You guys tour, make rock records, and that's a rock band.
Yeah.
I felt the same way about us. At the core, you could say whatever this, but at the core, we were a fucking working class rock band. We made records and we toured.
Yeah, man.
And that's what we did. And that is, to me, that was first. Everything else was just a product of that. So if we were drinking or this or that, it was all just a byproduct of the life of on the road, kind of the nomadic life of make records, tour.
Yeah.
But at the core, we were like a good band. We showed up. We played a good show. We could play with anyone.
That's the thing, right?
How many birthdays did you miss? How many weddings did you miss?
Countless.
How many fucking family things did you miss?
Yep.
Because you spent 2 decades on the road.
Yep.
That's a rock band.
Yeah. You make it your priority. You know, it's cool to do those things. We were talking about, you know, just drinking and doing all the stuff outside. But at the end of the day, and it's great and fun to do all that, but at the end of the day, you have to make the show and the band and the brand the priority.
That's it.
You know what I mean? So,
and maybe you were just drinking to get through that goddamn radio interview because they're so fucking uncomfortable.
The same goddamn question 100 times,
and they just suck. But you got to go do it because you put the band first. You put the record first. So you get up at 7 a.m. You go to some radio station with some morning show, and they ask questions because they don't know what else to ask because they don't give a fuck.
Yep.
They're just playing the record they're told to play, and you're there, and it all works, and you respect their time, and you show up, and you still have to get through it because it feels like you're a little bit like a birthday clown. And so you're conflicted. You're always conflicted. But here's the truth. To this day, if we put out a song and the radio is playing it and some station in Dallas is like biggest rock station in this part of the country, they give you 1,000 spins, blah, blah, blah. And they say, will you guys come? We're fucking going.
Yep, absolutely.
Because that's the record.
Mm-hmm.
You put it first. How much touring you guys think you'll do on this record? You think, let's say out of a year, how many months you think you'll be out there?
It's kind of hard to say. I mean, we do a lot of, you know, weekend one-offs and things like that when we're not doing the long runs. But I think, you know, we're already planning some other long runs. So I imagine we'll probably be out at least half of the year, if not more.
It's real.
Yeah. But, you know, like I said, this was something that we didn't think that we wanted to do. And now that we've decided that we're going to do it, we're going to go out and put everything we have into it, you know, and just see what we can accomplish on this one.
I like that.
You know, especially with, like I said, a small label, you know, a smaller budget, you know, you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
So if you want to get somewhere, you gotta do it right.
That's great. Who are you touring with?
Right now we're headlining, and Saliva is support.
Oh,
and
cool.
then Kingdom Collapse is also support on the majority. And then I think the last 4 of the shows, a girl named Kelsey Hickman is coming out.
Oh, cool.
So
that's cool.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's really cool to be out with, you know, guys, other bands that have had great songs throughout the years.
Yeah.
You know, so when people come out, it's this whole package. It's a whole night of music that they know and that they've loved for years.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun.
I think so as well. Yeah.
I'm excited for the record, man.
Well, thank you.
Good
Me
luck.
Too. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate
Awesome.
you. It's good to see you too.
Yeah, good to see you again. Thank you for listening to Artist Friendly. We really appreciate it. If you like the show, you can also follow us on Spotify. You can follow us on Instagram at artist.friendly. And you can watch us on YouTube and Veeps. Leave comments. I always read them. See you next time.